Brambles grow over the wall, amongst the weeds looking forlorn. Their strength is growth, and then to fall, to root again, and become reborn. As the summer ends and their flowers fade, their spadework reveals the hidden gem. Unripened fruit appear like jade before transforming again into a creme. Unwanted by many, as they ramble, their bounty can feed and reward when left by mankind to scramble, a harvest for birds and animals to applaud. The blackberries are a nectar that add to the memories of the collector.
The darkest days come without warning, an energy pulling me down. Stuff to do, but no one to see. My face resembles a frown. But soon the time will be upon us to come together once more. We'll see the world, we will be safe, our smiles will once again soar.
The smell of home was around me. It always embraced me and felt like a great, big, giant hug. It lives on with me even though I can no longer visit. The aroma of food coming along the tiny passageway, made with love to fill me up. You taught me how to appreciate food, Gramps telling me stories of orphan children hungry with no shoes, the cramped kitchen with no washing machine. You loved a good hand wash, and the smell of freshly pegged out washing, still a must for me. The outside loo full of spiders, fresh mint and rhubarb at the end of the backyard. The love of nature. You had never hurt any living creatures, as you said, everything had a place. We would wander through forests and parks, wrapped up warm, taking in all the fresh air we could get. The picnics, riding on buses with deck chairs, flasks of hot dogs and tea. You showed me the beauty of the world. We travelled far and wide together, taking in all the different cultures and drinking it all in. Your knowledge of London infused me and gave me the ability to find my way around, even when I was alone. Your selflessness outweighed my parents' selfishness. So without your love, care and guidance, I would never have had such a full and eventful life. Sorry. I wish you were both here today so I could tell you how wonderful you were. To thank you for saving me from the hands of others and making me, myself. And I will always treasure you both in my heart. Sorry.
I want to make this perfectly clear. I'm not the sort of female that can't do practical things. In my time, I've refurbished 3 properties. I've screwed, nailed, sawed, made partition walls, tiled, carpeted, and all the rest. So when I decided the other day I would hang a hook on the side of my dressing table to hang my hairdryer on, no problem. My hair is getting Rapunzel length, so I thought I need to get to my hairdryer quickly. So I went into my cupboard and I got out my toolbox. Yeah, I've got a toolbox. Screwdriver, hammers, everything. Spent 10 minutes looking for one of those little stick-on hooks. Eventually I found it. Then I spent another 10 minutes trying to peel off the paper backing to get at the little squidgy bit you stick on there. I put my glasses on the end of my nose and had another go, then realised there wasn't any paper and wasn't any sticky bit either. It was an old one I'd used and not thrown away. I know, super glue. So I spent another 10 minutes looking for the super glue. I eventually found it and had to use a pair of pliers to take the top off. It was empty, so I threw it away. I went back and got another one This was unopened, so obviously it was a good tube of glue. I opened it. I squeezed it on the back of the hook. I squeezed it on the dressing table, and I stuck it on. It had lost its stickability. It kept falling off. So I thought, I'd better go and look for another hook. But by this time, my fingers were so tacky, they stuck together, and I couldn't prise them apart. After 3 doses of Jif and a scrubbing brush and one of those pot scourers, I managed to get them apart. But if I wanted to commit a burglary, it would have been great because my fingerprints couldn't have been seen. I went back and I found another hook. This time it's a new one. Great. Peeled off the back, measured, very technically, with my fingers where it should go, and stuck it on. Brilliant, brilliant. So I got the hairdryer, I hooked it on, and I walked out of the bedroom to put all my tools away. A couple of minutes later, I came back in. As I came in the room, I heard the hook and the hairdryer landed on the floor. I wonder what the telephone number of that DI guy down the road is.
As I approached the house with the lights blazing through the opened curtained windows, I saw the cosy family scene, what most people do, sitting there looking and looking. I need not consider for one moment that it could be at anything they were looking at but the box, that box, the magical one where every living room becomes alive with a transmission that affects our thoughts, our minds, and our way of living. I rang the bell and I entered the cosy scene and became part of it. Down the stairs came pit-patter. An angelic little face came around the door. Carefully in came this soft little voice with a request in the ear of his mother. No, was the stern reply. No. Why not? Please, please. No. Again it came. Go back to bed. I wondered what the request was. I felt very impressed by the obedient response to his mother's adamant remark. Settling down once again to watch this interesting documentary on the box, I dared to ask what little Richard, 10 years old, wanted to do. He wanted to play with her PlayStation 2 because he could not sleep. Why not, I thought. I found out during our conversation that he and his brother Owen were only allowed to play with this equipment at the weekends. Too stimulating before going to sleep. That was the end of that, or we thought. But what was that noise coming from upstairs? Strum, strum. Louder and louder it came, strum, strum. Then a second guitar joined in. The 2 guitars were playing chords and repetitive tunes. Louder and louder and louder, till the voices on the television were inaudible. Mouths opening and closing. We looked at each other, deflated. Go and see to them, Nicholas said to Ffion. Dad always is the last resort. He shouted from the bottom of the stairs, stop that infernal din, you two. Infernal din, Richard responded, and his big brother added, we can't sleep, so we are practicing for our next grade in the exam, like you told us to do, which you said we must do. What can't be cured must be endured.
My Shackles, doing the the shimmer dance, seeing sparkles all around, claiming my light within, liking the gutsy glitter dress code, facing my fears, the shackles seduced, now released, surrendering with a kiss, a pause of gratitude. Scary nagging needs to stop, sweaty with the power of choices. Life on hold, rhythmically wrong. Chariot needs motion from my permission. Forward with permission granted. Timely release of shackles. Mentality of stuck, not anymore. Chariot speeds up, ready for new adventures. Not staying in the mind of illusionary stuck prison, moving forward symbolically, metaphorically, or literally misses the point. Energetic motion being the point, doing the shimmer dance, wearing my glitter dress. Joined the party, belonging, strutting my stuff. I am me, having fun. Fun all around, prisoner of my self-made origin, this true no more, all grown up in my party dress of seduction, seduced by the hand of life, dreaming about being me no more, the dream has come true. I am me, enjoying the journey, not fearing the falls, shouting loud declaration of not trying, not an option, experimenting with greater ease, taking one step, then another, loving the steps. The flicker within flame of hope has been turned up, my path now clearer, trusting myself more and more. Falls of all sorts inevitably still occur, true, all true, but still dancing on the hope path, seeing beyond shackles, knickers to nonsense, my knickers of sleek satin, of the sexy kind, seduced by life, sharing my love. I am alive in body, mind, and spirit. Did I hear myself? I am alive, a spirited woman of substance I claim to be. Did you hear me? I am alive, accelerated breaths from quickened steps, accommodating the speedy pleasure momentum, gasp from excited daringness as visiting new places. Has ataxia, chorea, a changed brain, and other conditions gone? Absolutely not. The shackles placed by me now gone, a prisoner no more, stuck more scary than daring to dance, panache with wearing my chosen sparkly dress. Life's dress code fits with ease, as off the peg I chose. Control a human concept, my vision devoid of constraint cages. Spirited woman I am. I have more to share. True to self and others, my arms wide open. Are you ready to play? Living and loving my self-liberation, cherishing my freedom, also celebrated by others. A peaceful warrior, yet so strong. Words into action deserves wise effort. Pit stops accepted as knowing this needed. Preventative precaution applied to avoid fatigue or unnecessary sickness with overwhelm. World begins from within. My precious gift of life, your precious gift of life. Life indeed precious, but affords no wimpish ways. invitation to my party, yours to accept or decline, party in full swing, naughty cake, washed down teasingly with champagne, my spirited ways reborn, glitter and laughter the way to go, dare to laugh your fears away, knowing scary, always there to say, no, you can't. Louder gets my voice of, I can, welcoming all loud voices saying, I can. A choir formed singing songs of, we can. That's my kind of party.
Early mornings, Welsh dress on, jerseys on. School bus awaits and the day has begun. The school hall and the songs to sing, the hymns, the national anthem and more through the day. Break time comes, Welsh cakes and even more fun. Love spoons and folk dancing, the school day goes on and on. St. David's Day concert for all to watch. The day of rehearsing has now come to a stop. St. David's Day in our Welsh dresses and big leeks comes to an end until the next year, where we repeat our matching dresses with our best friend.
Alas, 'tis back to the front line for chuntering disenchanted teachers. Tethered to terror together, they traipse trepidatiously unto a sneering monolith. Injudicious noses are pressed against the injurious grindstone. It is just, unjust. How falteringly the torpid troops, trip-traps and trips, trapped inside snapping snares once more. Chalk-faced preceptors are akin to prisoners. The ambience emanating from that incapacitated, incarcerated cadre becomes unbecoming. Alack, all look blackboard dark. Morning has an oddly funereal feel, even for old hands. Ragged are aged, caged jailbird bats. Avian everyone fleetingly flutters, flits, flips, flaps, flops, as futility's flighty epitome, then clusters, flustered. Certain, uncertain sirs dolefully dwell within an internal rhyme realm. Lachrymose masters are most morose, confined for an aeon by iron, among chunky chain chinking and clanking in the clink. Past their spell by date, muster chutzpah. Many a maiden amid the midden seems maddened, with roughly ruffled, fluffy feathers quivering above furrowed brows, quavering rows of harrowed crows, now row and crowd under a cloud. Meek coteries such as these appear to be beside themselves, for nerds of a feather flock together. A few new jittery flibberty-gibbets have been sought and caught. The anxious cohort cannot secure succour either. Thus iffy newbies faff among the clapped-out, clipped-winged remainder. Slackly shackled, they shake, shocked, before slickly forging sickly short-for smiles. Far from fetching fledglings, fantasy, sycophancy. So bow, belly low, below the hallowed beak. This boss, a supercilious silly ass, ingresses to impress. She struts percussively atop auteur's pucker pecking order, pockmarking her dominions, dumb minions. Her unnerved underlings watch, twitching, twittering, trilling edgily. Desperate, disparate, literate sorts hover in a corner. Others cower for cover from the illiterate in ill-lit dirt. Angst nests amongst desolate recesses. Hearing, fearing, chilling, shrilling, death knell hell, a badly addled, befuddled blubber, beset by a wailing malaise. Milling amidst a hub's rhubarb, hubbub, boggled pedagogues rise as one, and wander woebegone towards misbegotten children. Each niche bleak educator mooches into the breach to beseech a screechy sea of tetchy wretches. Diurnally dismal, the Brobdingnagian broken are beckoned unto battle by innumerable Lilliputians. Quailing scholars quake and balk at distant dissonance, since tyrannical trebles spell terrible trouble.
Sunlight gusts towards me along the familiar road, carrying the echoes of lost children trying to get home. The slanting shift of valley folds and unfolds slowly. Greens and golds pour glorying onto the grass from the leafy burden of summer oaks. Suddenly, the sheer striped rock of Voilvadian hits vision perpendicular around a bend. Its ravens fly out of the sun, beating black wings, gliding deep into chill of shadows that drop beneath. This is the place where my blood runs down into the earth, fusing with centuries of stone, where every shivering motion of light upon the mountain touches generations of remembering, and the glassland sits, a sliver of silver cupped in the clasp of the ridge. The chapel perches white and grey above this tiny hamlet, a plump Presbyterian pigeon, earthbound and full, minding the dead. No longer the morbid mustard yellow of memory, the eyes of childhood peel, surprised and reconciled. The steep cemetery slope holds flaking slate slabs, sunk blind in a gush of wildflower brilliance. We trace the ancestral names: Isaac, Margaret, John Caswallon Wood, Isaac Oswald, Margaretta, Blodwyn, Mary Mavanui Wood, Richard, John, Isaac Oswald. Shuffle the stack and find a new combination. John Oswald, soon my father's name will be here. Ancestors quarried themselves out of these hills. Woods here back to the year dot, he said once, and before that Llambrenmaer. Or did they roll up with fiddles and harps on the back of a rich Romany wind steeped in rosemary and thyme, warm from the Mediterranean? Children of Abraham Wood, the gypsy king, sometime in the middle of the 18th century. A family myth muffled by low church propriety. True that music was their currency. Great-great-uncle Richard hammered out the Messiah on the harmonium until it ran out of bluster, and asthmatic pedals wheezed final bars of suffocated hallelujahs. And choral competitions were a sport fought to the death of the last breath of the last tenor. They farmed the mountain, chiselled the stone into homesteads. Eskerllyn, Ysgyfochnant, Nantafadda, Cwmhavadymach. The undulating syllables tumble out of oral history and sink into the sodden grass. They drank the leaden water, the deadening trickles spilled from the heart of Deliver's poison mine, or grew sick on a diet of too much mutton, weighting the stomach with layers of fat, cold and cancerous, or coughed up a scarlet spray after months of rain and hill mist wrapped TB clouds around their lungs. They came young to their beds in the shadow of this watching chapel. Orphaned at 12, my grandfather, Caswallon the eldest, sold the chickens, the cockerel to Williams the shop, spat on his fingers and hushed the soft smoulder of the rushlight one last time. He gathered his 3 sisters and his brother and migrated south to Aunt Eleanor, Crawshay Street, on Ysybl, Pontypridd, crammed with a cluster of cousins into a tiny miner's terrace, courtesy of the charity of an entrepreneurial uncle, another John, from Abercynon. But they all drifted back, blown on the bones of a mountain breeze, hearts filled with Old Testament hope and dread. Only Isaac Oswald, builder's apprentice, stayed south and fell to his death from a cottage roof, mourned with bitter celibacy by his fiancée, forever Miss Anthony. Grandad, preacher black, strode the summit Sundays, chapel to chapel, umbrella held against the elements and to salute the Almighty. Blodwyn became Nurse Ud, deliverer of countless babies and a stern morality. A good woman, stout and single to the end. Their sisters disappeared into pious service, dressmaking and early death. This valley holds their stories, repeated over tables laden with Welsh cakes and tea and barrabrith, and best china for visitors welcome back to the fold, by Sally and Mary, village elders, and the ubiquitous silent nephew Maldwyn, self-appointed keepers of the memories. Sunlight gusts towards me along the familiar road, carrying the whispered histories of the layers of lost and longing children who have found their way back home.
So my daughter's name was Milka, and she died on the 3rd of July, where it was my granddad's birthday. So I awarded to my daughter because she was my first daughter when I lost her. I was really sad. She should be remembered because I loved her so much and I miss her a lot every day. I hope she is resting well. She is a beautiful Labrador. She loves the snow. That's my best memory. I miss the way she used to play with snow. I wish she could be alive. Once upon a time, there was a girl called Sam. She was friendly, kind, and helpful. She loved to help and taking care of people. Also, she was helping with shopping. When this pandemic was started, she stopped helping people because she ended up with a mask on her mouth, and people were staying 2 meters apart, away from her. She couldn't even understand what's going on here. She couldn't even realize what's going on here. Then she went home, hoping when this is over, some people could help her out with taking care of people. Yes, Oldie. We should remember the ones that we loved, and we still love them inside our hearts. I wish I could say a massive thank you for those who've been fighting for our country and also dying, but I can't because they are in heaven resting forever and ever. Being brave is a hard thing to do because not everyone can be brave, even though when someone is waiting for you to come back and there's all thing about dying and all of the stuff, it makes me mad because when someone died, another person would say, I want to go with you, I want to die with you. These words really stand, and I don't like when people say that. I wish I could hold your hand or hug you or remember the way you smell. Just remember your breath just to say a massive thank you, but I can't because you are inside my heart. I will always remember you forever and ever. I hope you be able to be with a girl who are in love with her and have the best memories and come back to straight home. Thank you so much for taking care of us and fighting for our country. I miss you all, the ones who are in heaven, and I hope you're having the best day.
I had been given the keys. I couldn't play the keys, but I'd been given the keys. How about the bass, I asked. I can play the bass. It messes with the symmetry, they said. One left-handed, stage left, one right-handed, stage right. I got given the keys. Okay, I said, I guess I know the basics. No need, they told me. You just need to look the part. I can play a bit, though. No need. Get a suit, get style, get a suit, look the part. Practice in front of the mirror, they said. Practice what? Looking the part. I'd been the backbone, the lugger, the roadie, the get in guy. The 6 months in a room would mean a lot of time off for me. That and they'd gone for a job as a 4-piece, and by my counting, there was just 3. Sometimes it's hard to do nothing, but to be seen to be doing everything, every night, twice a night, week after week, month after month. Every night, twice a night, we go on, warm them up, same sad faces staring back. The other 3 on the stage living it, and me, the massive fake, warming them up, same old place, night after night, same view out, we go out, warm them up, oldies goldies. We come off, we make way for the main event, new faces, new sights, new sounds, new names, old names, big names, and me, the massive fake, Elvis, Beatles, and the Rolling Stones. Same place, new night, band comes in, get in, rig up. That guy played drums on a number 1 in 1983. That band from the 1960s barely left the charts for years. Same band, only the whole lineup has changed. Same place, new night. Prima donna imitation of a bona fide gone to heaven rock god sweeps in. The crown and glory of covered band royalty. I clear out the storeroom at his behest. One room for him, one for his band. 1 pint of water in, no sight or sound. Prima donna imitation. Locked in his room until the lights go up. A tribute to arrogance, but sheer talent. Not quite the real deal. But this holiday camp is not Wembley. Lights go up. We get out. Didn't even see him leave. Didn't get to bow or curtsy the prima donna imitation of a bona fide gone to heaven rock god. No sight or sound. All that remained, 1 pint of piss. The crowning glory of rock royalty pisses in pint glasses. We're doing a talent show, the venue manager told me. Play the keyboard as backing. The lies and the guilt open a chasm beneath me. I stutter. I'm not great at sight reading. Did I get away with it? Did I look the part? Same place, new night. This band actually knew the Beatles. Back in the day, played the Cavern, Mop Top lads, every song a hit, every song their own. Of course, there's only one old bass player left, massive fakes. The drummer's a joker, he's not even playing a note, he jokes about me, the massive fake. But I look the part. Well, I do look the part. The lies and guilt open a chasm and everyone there. Both the band and the Mop Top lads, the venue manager and his co-host stare into the void my nervous eyes create. Same place, new night. Skinheads from Donny, get in, rig up. Look like they'd stab your gran for a pension. Look like they collect Nazi memorabilia and knives. Don't look them in the eyes in the dressing room. Don't need to. They don't speak. Stoic, angry looking. Hitler Youth, stab your gran for Rizzler. We're up. Oldies goldies, Elvis, Beatles and the Rolling Stones. They're up, wigged up, smiling energy, happiness incarnate. Looking like they take your gran out for lunch. All I can tell you is these guys can act. But wait, they're not even plugged in. The massive SS fakes. Same place, new night. Band comes in. Every night a new game for me. Who's plugged in? How many more of me are there out there looking the part? The great rock and roll swindle, turning up and turning ourselves down. The massive fake brigade, faking you entertainment. Our lives in harmony for all to see, night after night. Same place, new night. Second night in. Upbeat chart stuff, gets them dancing. There's me looking the part to live in La Vida. Bang. The F key broke off. I kick it away and hope nobody saw. I think it's the F. I can play the bass. Maybe it's the G. I'm wearing a mix of lies and concern. Suddenly I'm not looking the part. I tell myself to snap out of it, carry on. Nobody saw, nobody knew. Same place, new night. Curtain down, waiting to start the second set. The venue manager lingers like a jarring discord on a prog rock record, hanging in the air with impending menace while we wait for the song to kick in. He stands beside me, staring down at my F-less keyboard and my chasm of lies and guilt. He presses a key. Is it on? There was no sound. It's not up on the desk yet. The chasm widens. He knows. He can hear the nothingness loud and clear, the silence of the keyboard echoing around the venue, drowning out the crowd behind the curtain. He hears nothing and knows, and I know he knows. Same place, night after night. New band on stage. Same faces in the crowd. Every night avoiding the truth. That my lies were louder than my keys. Every night looking the part. 2 sets a night. Night after night after night after night. A few beers and back to the caravan. Every day learning some songs, learning the parts so my lie could grow some truth. But every night I stand in silence, looking the part to oldies goldies, looking the part to living La Vida Loca, looking the part to Elvis, Beatles and the Rolling Stones, looking the part until the end, till the final set. Same place, last night of the season, last show, then drinks. The band and the venue staff drinking until it gets light. There's no more night after night, no more same sad faces. I always knew the venue manager patted me hard on the back. Knew what? My chasm of lies and guilt get ready to make their final curtain call. First time I saw you, I knew you were miming. And there it was. I never looked the part. I couldn't play, but I'd been given the keys.
Childhood. 1955. Llandudno seafront guest house. I wake, aged 4, peel off my pyjama top, explore my chest and belly, turned purple in my sleep.
I slip downstairs to breakfast. As my mother butters her toast, I lift my top to display my chicken pox. 2018, from St. Guthral's, the footpath crosses the Wye to the filling station and shop. I take Rose, aged 3, for her mid-morning walk without the buggy, a distance of a mile there and back again, to buy a sausage roll for lunch. Rose is wilting. I carry her the distance between road signage and road signage as cars whiz by on the one straight stretch for miles. We watch the water tumble over stones on the riverbed. Hear the breeze through the alder leaves.
The boy sits silent on his own. He wants to weep, but knows he'll be laughed at. He stares out of a window. The sun is shining. People are having fun. If only he could tell someone how he desires to be part of those sunny, sunny people. The pain in his heart is great. So is his deprivation. All he needs is a confidant. At times, his agony is shattering. He withdraws within himself, trying to disguise his torment. But he's like spilled wine. No one would care. A voice invades. Go on, go on, go on. Would that be giving in? All it takes is courage. Just too much of a demand. All he wants is understanding. A girl walks past the window, not even noticing him, as he raises his hand to wave, silently pleading, "Don't ignore me. Please, wait. Don't pass me by." He is dismissed, avoided like rubbish. It is then he believes he is just that, worthless trash. Again, tears stain his cheeks, those of a lonely, misunderstood boy.
A little bit of summer. The weather outside is awful. The brain inside creates its warmth by recreating. A movement of self in space while sitting still and warm. The brain inside is wonderful by recreating. The timing of experience, in fact, encapsulating, encroaching. The brain has awesome memories of recreating.
We are the plastic generation, disposable, malleable, molded by media manipulation, Botoxed silicon dolls, pouting for selfies, like, swipe, reject. We are the plastic generation, our bodies shrink-wrapped, modified, commodified, mass-produced, told what to think, wear, say for every occasion. We are the plastic generation, our lives reduced to filtered Snapchats, Facebook obsession. Take a look, see how perfect we are in dead-end jobs with deadened eyes, buying our way out of depression. We are the plastic generation, our lives airbrushed, photoshopped, Instagram images that last for seconds. Nothing lasts. Everything is disposable. Nothing is perfect. Our wasted bodies line every high street, like, swipe, reject. You were dancing before you even began. Whirling ball of atoms, intricate centrifuge, multiplying zygote, blastocyst, tiny drumbeat pulsing out rhythms thinner than a hair, synapses on a wire, tapping the electricity of life and growing, growing. We are made of stardust, the heart's pulsar spinning vortex through time and space, our atoms older than the universe, exploding supernovas of cosmic dust, made and remade through countless generations. The seeds of each new life, imminent in the next, dynamic yet born of eternity, souls wrapped in skin that sing to the music of universal love. You were made for such times as these. Dance, baby, dance.
This one's got tykes. Motor tykes and drives creatures crazy with what can I do with my cooking. It means a lot to me. Having tykes, yay buds, we are rock and rollers in Queen. Queue up, they said. Fancy that. Could do with some tykes around me. Looking pretty with heavy metal t-shirts. Number 1, pizza, mozzarella, Italian roasted tomatoes. The Sunday breakfast on toast. And fried baked beans and Spanish posh breakfast. The other one's called fenced. Fenced up idiots being held hostage with crooks wearing short mini skirts and tie-dye Indian-style woolen leggings. Might look trendy, a toad that wore in costume. Designer clothing ran in the rain, naked across the road, or barefooted from here in the pounding forest.
I sat in the garden, as often I do. Birds sang in harmony, beautiful and true, when a tap on my shoulder, and oh, there she stood, Mary Ellen, my Nana. Long dead now, of course. Bore-da, Cariad, she mouthed silent words, her face smooth and smiling, no longer imposing, yes, and gentler too. Wisps of white hair escaped from a bun, a skirt black as coal, a pinafore too, crisp white blouse, a brooch at her throat, Welsh tea for 3. I knew her so well, though I was but a child, a lovely enigma born in centuries past. She left Wales behind and travelled around, growing family to feed. She followed her man, who dug coal to scrape by. She lived with her nieces, young Pitt-head girls, who now danced behind her, clogs tapping a measure, a rhythmic yet silent message of pain. Black, choking coal dust swirled up as they danced, beckoning us to join them. But we are too old, Mary Ellen and I, so linking our arms, we swayed at the edge, and yearning for contact, I danced with my ancestors.
Excuse me,
is this seat taken?
Weather outside is
I looked
awful.
up, surprised.
Rain
It was the
inside
middle of the night.
creates its
There was no one
warmth
else
by
about.
recreating.
I was sitting on a public bench outside St Giles'
movement
Church,
of self
reading the
in
newspaper.
space,
An
while
excellent
sitting
street there,
still
only a few feet
and
away.
warm.
And so the question
The
seemed to me
brain inside
fatuous.
is wonderful.
The stranger,
by
however, did not
recreating.
look in the least fatuous. He
The
was an
timing
elderly
of
gentleman,
experience
dressed
is fact,
impeccably, of refined appearance.
encapsulating,
In his accent
approaching.
bespoke a man of
The
education.
brain has
I put
awesome
the question
memories
down to an excess of
of
politeness.
recreating.
Not at all, I replied. He sat down at the far end, I myself being at the other end, so that I could rest my elbow on the arm of the bench. And I could not help but notice how carefully he arranged his clothes, tucking up the back of his jacket so that he did not crease it,
pulling up his trousers at the knee. He was fastidious in his behaviour, I thought, almost old-fashioned. Indeed, as I observed him, I saw that his apparel did indeed belong to an earlier age. There were turn-ups to the trousers, and he wore a waistcoat. "A fine night," he said, suddenly looking at me. "Oh, indeed," I replied, a little embarrassed that he'd caught me staring at him. "You often come here to read your newspaper?" "Well, it is a favourite spot of mine, I have to admit, but whether or not I read depends upon whether anybody has left a newspaper in the bin." He chuckled. It was a rich, throaty laugh, the sort of laugh that belonged to a man of intelligence and good humour. "And is there anything in your newspaper of much interest?" "There seems to be an awful lot about something called phone hacking. I don't quite understand how it works, but it appears that various newspapers have been able to gain access to private messages of various people, which they then publish to the world at large." "Oh, the world doesn't change," my companion remarked. "No, indeed. And it appears that the Prime Minister has been a little too close to some of the newspaper people who have been involved, and the public opprobrium that has been levelled at them is now beginning to rub off on him. Politicians don't change either." "How do you mean?" "Well, you know the old saw about power corrupting. When these characters obtain a bit of power, it goes to their head. They think they can get away with anything. Take Lloyd George, for example." "Lloyd George?" I said. "You know, the Honours for Cash scandal." "Oh, a bit before my time, I'm afraid." "Oh, it doubtless still goes on, a knighthood here, a peerage there. And it's not downright dishonest, and it's almost certainly a bit of nepotism." "I dare say you're right," I said, a little disconcerted. This fellow obviously had a real bee in his bonnet. "Quite frankly, I'm glad I'm out of it." He remained silent for a while, staring hard at the road. Then he stood up. "Well, I'll leave you to your newspaper. I've enjoyed our little talk." He walked away, passing through the lich gate into the churchyard. I watched him for a while as he walked down the path, but he soon passed out of my sight behind the church. I went back to the newspaper, but found it difficult to settle. The old fellow's views had upset my mental equilibrium. Was it really true that things never changed? That people never changed? That there were always corruption and dishonesty in the world? Even in dear old England? The church clock struck 2. I gave up the newspaper as a bad job, dropped it back in the bin, and went back to my own little plot.